from Rainey Center for Spiritual Living, Bellingham. We're so grateful to all of you who are joining us in person as well as virtually. Grateful to have you here today. My gratitude this morning has to do with our volunteers. Yesterday, Saturday, I drove up here to drop something off, and I discovered a whole bevy of different individuals who were all volunteering in different ways. There was the altar team redoing the altar, and there were people, especially my wonderful husband, up on the roof, blowing the roof off because they knew the rain was coming. There were people spotting my husband. I was grateful for that. And it's that kind of thing. And I was reminded of this because I heard about a large train wreck in Montana. And I don't watch television, but I heard the description of volunteers just from the train itself, no training whatsoever, just pulling people out. And I wanted to remind us all that that kind of effort and kindness really are everywhere present if we look for it. So let's take it over to our band today and have some wonderful music.
Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the light. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the peace. Today I'm finding gratitude for all that's right. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the love. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the grace. Today and every day I'm gonna dwell upon the joy. Today I'm seeing God in each and every face. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. What we dwell upon, we become. So let's dwell upon the good. Yeah, let's dwell upon the good. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here today in person and out there in the virtual world. If you can take a second there and say hello to a neighbor, both here and online. Let us know where you're from. I'm in the right place at welcome here.
Good morning. My name is Francine Kitchen, and I'm your practitioner today. It's my honor to invite you to join me in an invocation. It is with joy and thankfulness that we come together this morning to be one life, one love, one light, one congregation of like-minded spiritual beings. I open my heart and my mind and my intuition to receive the highest wisdom that is available to me today. I see the light on my spiritual path guiding me home to the divine. With gratefulness, we join with our beloved minister, Dr. Andrea, to contemplate today embracing your you-ness. And so it is.
I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go, I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go, I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am healed, I perfection. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me beautiful and sacred. A wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me pure light, divine. All is love, all is light. 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 All of me, pure light, divine. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. All of me pure light, divine. All is love. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All of me, pure light, divine. Let's sing all is love. All is love, all is light. 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 All of me, pure light, divine. All of me, pure light, divine.
Thank you. Welcome again, everybody. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my process so that you kind of know where this talk is coming from. I wake up really, really early on Sunday morning to prepare my talks. Some ministers do them, midweek and then practice. And I've been a minister for 36 years, so I don't do that anymore. I actually never did that, honestly, because I want it to be relevant and fresh for whatever's happened in the world. So often what happens is I'm paying attention during the week, and then I wake up, and all of a sudden I'm getting peppered with ideas. And so sometimes those make great sense, and sometimes they don't. And today was like the first thing that came up was autonomic nervous system. Like, what? nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. I'm like, what am I doing? And I think that's because I've been watching the Collective Trauma Summit, and so there's a lot of discussion about how trauma affects our bodily being. So I was like, all right, okay, I'm not going to talk about that. Is that all right? Because I'm not. But then this other one came, and I was telling Joe, he's lovely. He makes me breakfast on Sunday mornings. And so I was saying, this thing wants to be spoken, and I can't believe it. And he's like, well, you don't have to. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it's one of those that I can tell I'm supposed to. So I'm going to tell you what came to me, and then you'll understand why I didn't want to talk about it. Ready? Morality, wisdom, and practice. Sounds like a scintillating topic, doesn't it? Just what you came to hear. But as I was diving into it, I realized why it came to me. See, the topic today is embrace your you-ness, meaning being your true self, right? And in a way, that topic is like singing to the choir. I don't think anybody gets to a center like this who hasn't already had to become their true self at some level, and often in painful ways where we had to stand up to family, or we had to stand up to society, or we had to stand up inside of ourselves and say, the way I've been living is not true to me. The way you're living is not my truth. It's your truth, I understand that, but it's not mine. So show of hands, virtually as well as in here, how many people have had one of those moments? Right? I don't see any hands not up. So in a way, embracing your you-ness, you've been there, you've done that, you bought the t-shirt. Except that what I've noticed in my spiritual journey is that my true self, that self that in the science of mind we believe brought us into incarnation as a sacred human, the self that is much bigger than our human present moment reality, the self that some faith traditions call the soul, that is eternal and is ever evolving, that true self doesn't stop wanting us to evolve who we are and what we understand, and wants us to continue to become and become again and become again. And why is that so? Well, in our tradition, what we really understand is that this evolving principle has to do with the underlying presence of a field of possibility that is endless and ongoing and always and ever seeking to express itself through each of its creations. And you are a creation, and I am a creation of that. And so is everything else in this manifest universe and beyond. So that is in you, operating through you and as you, and it doesn't want to stop creating out of its own beautiful field of possibilities anything and everything it can by means of each of us. It's really powerful. The challenge is that for a lot of us, a couple things happen. One is that although the creative impulse that is always and ever inside of us is ongoing, we get kind of attached to comfort. Have you noticed that? And when we get attached to comfort, even if it's uncomfortable comfort, like staying in a relationship way too long because, well, it's not that bad. And I always say, anybody that says that to me, I always turn it around and go, yeah, that means it's not that good. Right? But we get comfortable in our discomfort, and sometimes we just get flat out comfortable. We like our comfortable lazy boys, and we like our comfortable routines, and we like our comfortable podcasts, and it goes on and on and on. And in that comfort, what begins to happen is it's almost as though we put on the spiritual brakes, and we start slowing the creative urge down, because the problem with the creative urge is we're going to have to change. That's the nature of creativity, is there's change, there's evolution, there's expression, there's all this incredible juju, energy going with creativity, but it also means we can't stay the same. So brakes get put on, and then we start to feel bored. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's sort of interesting that our habits, which originally were designed to help us, become a brake and lead to a certain level of boredom in our expression. So, that all said, let's talk about morality. I can't believe I'm even saying those words. But what you need to know is that in the science of mind, what we understand, see, we came out of the teachings of Ralph Waldo Emerson and his circle, his conversational circle. And so Emerson, the iconoclast of his time, said that basically, I have to be myself. Oh mother, oh father, oh sister or brother, I cannot conform to your ways any longer. I must be myself. And in that, there is a call to live from a different place than many people had ever experienced in Emerson's time. But he went on to say, and people who think that living true to yourself is just a recipe for hedonism and, going wild, try it for a day. Try living your truest self for a day and see if it's lax or wild. It's wild in a different way than most people expect. So that's the morality I'm talking about, is living true to yourself and living truly true to yourself, which I brought you a story about. So this is a really old story. It's so old that it's from China, and there's no credit to where it started because it's one of those. So it goes like this. Long ago, there lived a monk who perched in a certain tree every day to meditate. No matter if the tree swayed in fierce winds and rain, the monk settled himself comfortably high up in the tree. Because of this, he was nicknamed Bird's Nest by the village folks nearby. Many of these villagers passed beneath the monk while hunting and while gathering wood in the forest. And after a time, they grew used to the monk being up in the tree. Indeed, some began to stop and talk of their concerns with the monk. They liked the way Bird's Nest talked and what he had to say, and soon Bird's Nest became known for his kind and thoughtful words. After many more years went by, the monk's wise reputation spread throughout the province. Visitors from distant cities hiked to the remote forest of Bird's Nest for advice. Even the governor of the province decided that he too would like to visit Bird's Nest to discuss matters of importance. And so one spring morning, the governor set off to find him. After traveling several days, he at last located Bird's Nest's tree in the dense forest. The monk sat calmly, high in the topmost branches, enjoying the warmth and the bird songs of spring. Looking up, the governor shouted, "Bird's Nest, I'm the governor of this province, and I have come a great distance to speak to you. I have a most important question." The governor waited for a reply, but heard only the pleasant sounds of leaves stirring in the breeze. The governor continued, "This is my question. Tell me, Bird's Nest, what is it that all the wise ones have taught? Can you tell me the most important thing ever said?" There was a long pause, just the soft rustle of leaves again. And finally the monk called down from the tree, "This is your answer, Governor. Don't do bad things. Always do good things. That's what all the wise ones teach." Well, the governor thought this answer was far too simple to have walked 2 days for. Irritated and annoyed, the governor stammered, Don't do bad things, only do good things. I knew that when I was 3 years old. Looking down at the governor, Bird's Nest replied with a wry smile, yes, the 3-year-old knows it, but the 80-year-old still finds it difficult to do. And that's true. Think about your life. Think about what you know to do and not do. And think about how the play of that shows up again and again and again in small ways and in big ways, really every day, and sometimes every hour. Any of you who are in recovery know this very well, but it doesn't take being in recovery or a 12-step program to really begin to pay attention to what we know to do and what we know not to do, and to notice that there are many, many times when we don't do what we know to do. It's fascinating, isn't it? So why is this important for me to point out? Well, I asked that question to the spirit that gave me this whole topic, and I said, so why do I need to talk about this? And of course, it has to do with my own spiritual path as well as yours. See, the next talking point, wisdom, actually is a result of morality on one level, of this idea of staying true to yourself and really paying attention to what you know to do and then doing it over and over again. Wisdom actually comes from not doing it, right? You've heard the old expression that experience is the birthplace of wisdom. Bad experience leads to more wisdom. And that's true for all of us, that one of the things that we get to do on a spiritual path is we get to pay attention to not only what we're doing well, but also the places that have plagued us or are difficult for us or are calling us to a new attention level or asking us to change or asking us to move with an inspiration or a creative urge, and noticing the times when the brakes are still on, when we're not quite following what's going on, what we're being asked to do. And that leads to wisdom. Because if we're paying attention enough, what we begin to realize is almost always when there's a prompt, not necessarily about the autonomic nervous system, but almost always when there's a prompt, there's a reason, and it's a good reason, to investigate. Why? Because the wisdom that lies within us sees a much larger picture for how we can be and where we can go than the limited self that we sometimes inhabit. So wisdom allows us to pay attention long enough to understand when we haven't followed it and noticing that, and when we have. For me, wisdom has been my quest. Many of you know that when I first came into the spiritual path, I was an Episcopalian. And I was going to the University of Arizona, and I had this wonderful teacher named Father Burns, Catholic monk. And he was teaching us all about, the Bible, literature of the Bible, it was called. And as an Episcopalian, I had never read the Bible. I think I was common in those days. I didn't need to. I was being told what to think and how to think. So reading the Bible for the first time from the perspective of literature was fabulous. And I discovered Solomon. Do you know about Solomon? Solomon was beloved of the divine, and so beloved that at one point the divine said, hey, because in those days it was described as God and Solomon, and God said to Solomon, hey, I'll give you a boon, a gift. What would you like? You can have anything at all. And Solomon was fairly young when he said, I would like wisdom. I would like wisdom, because he was ruling this part of the world, and he needed it. And as soon as I read that, I went, oh, that's what I want. I want wisdom. And so for these last, long time, I've gotten to have a lot of bad experiences that have led to wisdom. Also, a lot of good experiences that have led to wisdom, and it's a very powerful thing. And part of the power of invoking wisdom is we begin to dive deep into that true self. There's another story that came to me while I was thinking about wisdom, and it was about an old master who was running a school. And this school was for young people that were interested in the spiritual path. And so he had been teaching them for a long time. And he came to them one day and said, well, you can see that I'm getting old. You may have noticed that my hair has turned white. And one of the young students said, yes, we have noticed that. And the master said, yes, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to close the school unless we can raise some money to pay for additional staff. So I have a plan for you students. You may have noticed that in the town we live in, there are many, many wealthy people who are walking the streets with lots of adornment and purses full of gold and silver coins. And what I want you to do is I want you to leave the school and I want you to go into the town and I want you to stay in the alley until you see one of these wealthy people, and I want you to take their purse and run. And after all, they don't really need it. They obviously have more than enough, so it really won't harm them in any way. And if you get away without being seen, then I'll take the money and we'll put it into the school. But if you're seen, I'll deny all knowledge. So the students were pretty agitated and upset. I mean, this was the man who had taught them year after year and that they revered, and he's telling them to do this thing, and they really loved their school, and they really want it to continue. So they all stood up, and he said, okay, go, go, go. I'll see you later today. And so they sort of filed out and started toward town, except for one young girl. And the master turned, and there was this young girl standing in the middle of the classroom. And he said, why aren't you going with the others? And she said, Master, I can't. I can't do that. It doesn't matter whether anybody sees me stealing or not. I see me. And with that, he leapt up and hugged her and said, you are the only student that understood this lesson. And right about then, all the other students had come back to find the young girl. And so he was able to say, this is the lesson that I was seeking to teach you. There's nowhere to hide. You see you. And that's wisdom for me. I see me. It doesn't matter what anybody else says about me. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about me. It doesn't matter whether you like this talk or not on one level. What matters is that I'm telling you what's true for me. And I'll stand by that, right? So the last thing I was given, morality, wisdom, and practice. Well, this is no surprise, I'm sure. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that one of my things that I encourage people to do on a regular basis is to do some sort of spiritual practice. Why? Why do I keep saying that? Isn't that annoying about now? If you've been coming for a while? Well, for one thing, having taken a marketing class, I know that people have to hear things 7 times before they even start doing something. So if this is your 7th time, congratulations. Glad that you're hearing it for the 7th time. But if it's your 107th time, why would I keep saying it? Well, for me, the true self that I was talking about in the beginning requires practice. You can't just sort of sit down on your true self laurels and hope that it'll just be all the time. At least in my experience, that just doesn't happen. What happens is we revert to old patterns that are not helpful. That's what happens. And so practice is really for the purpose of applying wisdom, applying what we learn about our true self, and applying it over and over and over and over until we understand ourselves in new and powerful ways. So it's not enough to say, let me pick something. It's not enough for me to say in my path, I'm not going to eat sugar. I have to practice that. And unfortunately, I seem to have to experience over and over the falling off of that and then the consequences, and then go, oh yeah, that's why I said that. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's try again. Practice, practice, practice. And that's why so often in our community you hear somebody say, and I got it from somebody, this is a perfection-free zone. You can't practice and expect to be perfect the first time, the second time, the third time. In fact, you can't practice ever and expect to just arrive and all of a sudden you're, as my little granddaughter says, all done now. Lulu, all done. No, it doesn't work like that. Even, talk to any golfer, any pianist, any musician of any sort. Talk to any speaker and you'll find out that for all of us, as much as we've practiced, there comes a day when the practice needs to be buffed up. We need to, again, bring ourselves to the task because we're different and therefore it needs to be different. So that's the last thing I want to share with you is there have been multiple times in my journey now where the practices that I developed no longer were relevant for who I'd become. Not because they weren't valuable, but because something internally had changed. And maybe you've experienced this too. One of the first times this happened was I was going through a very, very traumatic experience, and I stopped being able to read for a while. Have you had that happen? It was the weirdest thing. I couldn't read. Of course, I also couldn't eat much. I lost a lot of weight. It was very traumatic, and reading had been one of my spiritual practices, reading wisdom books. And so I was sort of floating, going, I can't, right now I can't do that. And that's when a new practice came to be for me that was very, very powerful for me during that period of time. Reading eventually obviously came back, so did eating, and that new practice became incorporated with the old practices, and that's how it's been for me. So there may be a time in your life where you've been doing yoga or Tai Chi or other spiritual practices that were so incredibly valuable, and then one day you wake up and it's like you can't. It's weird. I want you to know that that is actually somewhat normal. I've talked to a lot of people on the path that this happens, and it's just a call to change, to allow the creativity to bubble up and invite you into a new process because you're ready for that. So I'm going to end this talk by thanking you for listening to a talk on morality, wisdom, and practice. And I'm going to do a prayer for the infinite to flow through all of us. So please join me in this. Deep within each person, I know lies a hidden wholeness. This wholeness has always been present, and it always will be. It is our truest of true natures. And out of this wholeness, we bring forward our lives in expression. So I know for myself, and I know for you, that in this time, there is a new awakening unfolding for us, in me and in anyone who accepts this prayer. This awakening allows us to move forward, allowing the creative urge that comes from this hidden wholeness to awaken us to new ideas, new ways of living, and new ways of thinking. This awakening takes the brake off and allows us to move forward with authority and clarity, with wisdom, and a deep excitement for our lives unfolding. I am grateful that this hidden wholeness is always bubbling with new understanding, new ways of expression, new ways to create a life of deep meaning for you and for me. And so I rest in the knowing that this is unfolding. And I say yes to this unfolding wholeness in me and in you as we say together, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right now, the ushers are going to prepare for the offertory, and if you would like to make a donation to the center, we deeply appreciate it. For those watching virtually, if you'd like to make a donation to the center, you'll find a donate button on our website, and we really appreciate all those donations. They help us a lot. So a couple of things before we all go back out into the beautiful world. First of all, thank you to those of you who have volunteered recently. I put out a notice that we were in need of some more help with our Family Promise program. This is providing meal kits for families that have been experiencing homelessness and are now in temporary housing and could use the support of meals to make their lives easier as they navigate finding permanent housing, finding jobs, and raising children. So a bunch of you volunteered. Thank you for that. Also, you may have noticed that we have some folks that are volunteering on the soundboard, which to me is a terrifying thing. Thank you so much. And also, for those of you listening on live stream, we couldn't do it without the volunteers in the back that are running our live stream. Thank you to the new volunteers for that. So we have a lot of wonderful things going on, and I wanted to make sure you knew about it. We are having a Zoom new members information meeting on Sunday, October 3rd at noon. And we'd love if you are interested in finding out what membership at CSL Bellingham actually means. We'd love you to come. It's not a commitment to membership. It's just an information gathering session, and then you can make a decision based on your true self, whether that fits for you at this time or not. So if you'd like to come to the membership meeting, you can contact the office and they'll register you and send you the Zoom link. Also, we have on Saturday, October 9th, a really new, really fun thing that's happening. I don't know if you've ever participated in a play shop. Any of you been in a play shop? It's an opportunity, it's a workshop, but it invites you into play. And that's what this is going to be. It's called Creative Play with Spiritual Principle. And it's being presented by one of our licensed practitioners, Deb Dole. And Deb is an amazing practitioner and also an artist. And she takes in information in different ways than some folks. And so for her, engaging the spiritual principles that will change our lives in a playful manner is very helpful. So she's designed a workshop that you can be a part of and do the same. So that's happening on October 9th from 10 to 12:30. And it is, I can't remember, I think actually it's offered hybrid. So you can either be here with Deb or be online. You're going to need a couple of supplies. So when you register, you'll probably get that. Also, we have a new meditation that's being offered once a month, and that is a prayer and meditation for the earth. And that is on every fourth Sunday of the month from 4 to 5 p.m. if you're interested in that. We have a local woman who has been in charge of our Victory Garden, supplying organic food to the food bank for years now, and she has a lot of knowledge about how to use plants to make medicines to assist people. And she's offering a workshop called The Prevention and Treatment of Respiratory Illnesses, and that workshop's going to be on October 1st, so it's coming right up. And you need to register with her, and so look on the center website for her email. And there's a $45 charge, which gives you all the materials, the ingredients that you'll need, as well as the recipes. Let's see what else. We also are having a wonderful, have you ever made a nature mandala? I'm looking at you in the room. How many of you have done that? I have. Super wonderful. I would say fun because I like that kind of thing, but it's also very insightful. So we're having a nature mandala meditation. That's going to be on Saturday, October 16th. You do need to be in person for this one. And it's going to be from 10 to 12:30 here on the grounds. And it's a gathering of natural materials that have fallen. And then you'll be taught how to create a beautiful mandala and do a listing process along with it. So very, very powerful. You can register for that at the center website as well. Let's see what else we have here. We have a lot going on that aren't in the announcements yet. I wonder if I should tell you. I have a feeling everybody would say no. But there's some cool stuff coming up. Just watch for those announcements, which allows me to say if you're not on Constant Contact and you would like to receive announcements in your email, you can contact our office and start getting weekly emails that tell you the announcements as well as what I'm going to be speaking about. Also, if you're new with us today or fairly new and have not discovered the friendship packets, they're in the back of the room here on your left, my right. They're in the back, and you're welcome to take one of those. It has a lot of information about the science, mind, philosophy in our center. And past that, on that same table, is an opportunity for you to ask for prayer. If you have something difficult going on or you'd like to lift up your life in some way, the practitioner of the day, Francine Kitchen, will be tuning into the prayer requests in our prayer vessel in the back, and we'll be doing prayer for you. So we'd love you to take advantage of that service. All right, I imagine I've forgotten something, but I think we should get on with life, huh? So why don't we stand and sing our last song?
Soon, hopefully next week.